I'm very happy to be here today with you all. And as some of you may know, about 5 months ago, I had a liver transplant.
Steve Jobs está a morrer. Num dia de maio de 2011, Bill Gates, o seu rival de longa data, visita-o na sua casa em Palo Alto, na Califórnia. Uma última despedida entre os dois homens que moldaram o mundo informático e mudaram por completo o modo como vivemos. A reconciliação entre estes dois gigantes do século XX conclui uma história que se iniciou há 35 anos.
He and I, in a sense, grew up together. We were within a year of the same age, and we were kind of naively optimistic and built big companies, and most of it as rivals, but we always retained a certain respect, communication, including even when he was sick. I got to go down and spend time with him.
Steve Jobs, o homem de muitas vidas, criança prodígio, rebelde e uma espécie de guru New Age da alta tecnologia. Bill Gates, o homem mais rico do mundo, um conquistador imparável, impulsionado por sonhos de grandeza. Duas supernovas, cuja sinergia e rivalidade levaram à criação de um sistema binário. Dois homens apaixonados, até pela rivalidade.
Were they friendly? I don't think they called each other and say, hey, it's my birthday, happy birthday. I don't think it was that kind of relationship.
And Microsoft's just, it's McDonald's.
A única coisa que tinham em comum era terem desistido dos estudos para seguirem os seus sonhos visionários.
Though they never worked in the same company, they created an industry together. And we had a hippie and a nerd.
Gates e Jobs, a história do duelo mais grandioso a que a indústria informática já assistiu. A batalha épica entre Mac e PC. Jobs, o hippie, e Gates, o geek, ditaram literalmente o futuro do computador. Nos anos 70, Steve Jobs e Bill Gates são ainda adolescentes. Os jogos de vídeo acabam de aparecer. O mundo informático ainda é constituído por máquinas enormes, supercomputadores que só as maiores empresas podem pagar. O mercado dominado pela multinacional americana IBM, mais conhecida por Big Blue. Nascido em Seattle, numa família abastada, Bill Gates gosta de criar programas e software de computador durante os seus dias na escola e na universidade com o seu amigo Paul Allen.
Bill Gates and Paul Allen, they were at Harvard, and at a computer store or at the bookstore in Harvard Square, there was a magazine, Popular Electronics, January 1975, and it had a picture of the Altair on the cover. That was the gun that was fired that started the race for them.
O Altair, ou dinossauro dos computadores pessoais, uma ferramenta rudimentar, mistura de interruptores e luzes intermitentes. Renasce graças a Bill Gates e a Paul Allen. Ao criarem uma linguagem de programação para o Altair, chamada BASIC, dão-lhe inteligência. É revolucionário.
The languages thing was what they were passionate about. Bill Gates and Paul Allen's goal in 1975 was to dominate the languages business on personal computers. That's why they left Harvard.
Logo a seguir, em abril de 1975, Gates e Allen iniciam a sua empresa, a Microsoft. O objetivo é vender o BASIC, mas acima de tudo desenvolver novo software para futuros computadores. Também em 1975, mas desta vez em Palo Alto, na Califórnia, surge outro duo, Steve Jobs e Steve Wozniak, dois estudantes de liceu que são fãs desta nova tecnologia. O Altair marca também para eles o início de uma viagem épica.
Steve Wozniak, he looked at that Altair. For him, this was not elegant. There were too many chips. The thing was too big. So immediately what Woz was doing in his head was saying, I can design a computer all on one board.
Seria o Apple I. Wozniak e Jobs são os primeiros a conseguir juntar todos os componentes constituintes de um computador numa só placa. Fonte de alimentação, teclado e memória, tudo ligado a um ecrã. Os dois amigos acabaram de inventar o computador pessoal.
Making the Apple I was purely Woz's idea, and it was purely his design. But once he showed it to his good friend Steve Jobs, Steve is the marketing person, and he's thinking, we can make money.
Mas por agora o Apple I é fabricado na garagem da família Jobs.
I'm pretty much the only person who worked in the garage, at least on the Apple I. Steve Jobs was on the phone all the time. He was in the kitchen on the phone. I was in the garage testing Apple I boards.
They were excited. They thought, they were amazed that people were actually paying them. They were going to make money. For something that they designed, that was pretty special.
Em abril de 76, um ano após a fundação da Microsoft, estabelece-se a empresa de computadores Apple. Microsoft e Apple, os dois pilares da revolução informática.
They both had a belief that computers were not just important but crucial, and yet they both had a very different way of going after it.
Jobs was coming from hardware, and Gates was coming at it from software, and so they came at it from two different directions, but they both were very strong-minded men who believed they were changing the world.
Enquanto Bill Gates continua a desenvolver o seu BASIC, o duo da Silicon Valley avança. Steve Wozniak desenvolve o Apple II, enquanto Steve Jobs procura investidores para poder ampliar a sua jovem empresa.
Steve met Mike Markkula. And Mike Markkula was the guy with the money who liked what he saw and wrote the business plan and raised the money and incorporated Apple and hired the board of directors. And that's what really got Apple going.
Impressionado por Steve Jobs, o empresário californiano Mike Markkula investe $250 mil na Apple, que se expande e se muda para Cupertino, onde a sua sede se localiza até hoje.
How many calculators do you own?
2, maybe.
Right, and you use the automatic bank telling machines?
Sure.
So life is already seducing you into learning this stuff. And it's certainly not an 1984-ish vision at all. It's just going to be very gradual and very human and will seduce you into learning how to use it.
Jobs e Wozniak revelam o seu novo computador na primavera de 1977. Na Feira Informática de São Francisco, o Apple II é um êxito esmagador.
The Apple II was a huge step. It was actually really the first usable personal computer. The Apple II I always thought it was magical because you could do almost anything you thought of if you were creative enough.
O Apple II, o primeiro computador pessoal concebido para o público em geral. As vendas são fenomenais. Ele simboliza a revolução informática, mas tem uma desvantagem grave. E quem tem a solução para isso é Bill Gates.
Wozniak wrote a version of BASIC, but it wasn't completely up to date. There was a certain aspect of it that wasn't in there. So they began looking around for another version of BASIC that ran on the chip that the Apple II used. And Microsoft was a company that had it. So they got in touch with Bill Gates.
Com o BASIC, a Microsoft fornece aquilo que falta ao Apple II. Esta é a primeira colaboração entre Bill Gates e Steve Jobs. Mas no final dos anos 70, graças ao sucesso do Apple II, os holofotes viram-se para Steve Jobs.
And then in 1980, they went public. So there were all these people who had stock that got really rich, and it was one of the first public companies in the personal computer space where people got rich. So then people started really paying attention. What's it like to get rich?
It's very interesting. I was worth, $1 million. 1 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 million about over $1 million when I was 23, and over $10 million when I was 24, and over $100 million when I was 25. But especially at that point in my life, it was not the most important thing. The most important thing was the company, the people, the products we were making.
Os produtos, também a obsessão de Bill Gates. A sua visão de mundo organizado em redor do software.
There's a lot of people who are forecasting that there'll be software stores just like there are record stores today, and that there'll be thousands and thousands of those. And I think I'd have to agree with that.
Well, Microsoft's first product was BASIC, and that was sold to Apple, and that was sold to Radio Shack and Commodore. They were all customers, so he already was doing business with sort of everybody that was trying to make personal computers.
He was the first person to really have the idea of a software company separately from a hardware company, and that maybe the software company was going to create more value than the hardware company.
Apple was the big elephant, and Bill Gates was the mouse. So Bill Gates, being that position, he was a scheming, strategic guy, and he managed to work his company up, despite the fact that the giants of the personal computer business, Apple, and to some extent then IBM, were giants, and he had to get his software onto them in order to grow his company.
A IBM, o gigante do hardware informático, não tardou a entrar num novo mercado dos computadores pessoais com o seu próprio PC. Mas os computadores não são nada sem software. Assim, a IBM vira-se para a nova referência na área, Bill Gates, que agarra esta oportunidade única e, em 1980, assina um contrato chorudo com a Big Blue. O seu novo sistema operativo informático, o MS-DOS, vai correr em todos os computadores IBM. O MS-DOS é a coluna vertebral do PC. Programa o computador para que este seja mais fácil de utilizar.
Oh, well, the IBM deal was very important, obviously. I mean, having MS-DOS adopted by IBM changed a lot, and it certainly was a defining moment.
The smartest thing he did, maybe the smartest thing he ever did in the computer business, was that he got IBM to sign a deal that gave him a one-time payment, but allowed him to license it to other people who might clone IBM's PC. IBM did not really think anybody else was going to successfully clone their PC, so they didn't care.
É o golpe de mestre de Bill Gates. Além do contrato com a IBM, ele retém o direito de vender o seu sistema informático a qualquer dos concorrentes da Big Blue. Com o DOS, Gates estabelece o padrão de software para toda a indústria de PC.
I'd say within 6 months of him doing the IBM deal, everybody in Silicon Valley knew about Microsoft.
No início da década de 80, tanto o Steve Jobs como o Bill Gates estão ainda abaixo dos 30 anos. Mas são os dois jogadores principais numa indústria em rápida expansão. Uma história de enorme sucesso para duas personalidades diametralmente opostas. Robert Crankley conheceu ambos. Como participante na Revolução Informática, trabalhou com Gates e Jobs desde finais da década de 70. Antigo funcionário da Apple, virou-se para o jornalismo e escreve há mais de 30 anos sobre esta rivalidade.
With Bill, it was always about the money. With Steve, it was never about the money. I mean, money is nice, but it was never about the money. And so that made them black and white, up and down, hot and cold. They're very, very different people.
I hired Steve Jobs at Atari when I think he was 19, and he was very sure of himself and was quick to judge whether he thought you were smart or dumb, and if he thought you were dumb, he was very dismissive, even if you were his supervisor.
He was very good at knowing what he wanted, and he would just steamroll you into doing it. He was very, very persuasive, He was very good at recognizing when something was a good idea, when something was not a good idea.
He definitely relied on his instincts a lot. He relied on his gut. He talked about that all the time. And that's a certain type of spiritual dimension of being, you know, we had read books about, for instance, Gurdjieff, a famous Russian spiritual master. He was always talking about integration and wholeness, which means using all your faculties, which means using your third eye vision.
Nos anos 70, como muitos hippies da época, Steve Jobs e o seu amigo Daniel Kotke viajaram até à Índia. A viagem é um rito de passagem, uma busca de sabedoria espiritual.
We were looking for a wise man who had secrets of knowledge for us. Nothing really much happened to us. We did not find the guru we hoped we would find.
Steve would talk about all this spiritual stuff, and yet he could be a cruel person. You know, he had real troubles with intimacy. He couldn't allow himself to get close to people. I don't know why, you know? He loved the idea of spiritualism, but to live it was hard for him. And Bill was just geeky, you know? He's just a very nerdy guy. And as such, especially in his early years, he had problems communicating and being understood, and his family didn't know what to do with him. And he found his niche in business and technology and succeeding just on the basis of brain power.
Steve Jobs was a much better marketeer than Bill Gates was. But he was not really that technical. He was not a technical code writer. Bill Gates could write code and write good code.
Bill's just different. He led with the data and with the insight and the technology and the idea, where Steve led with, you know, what's it feel like? What's it look like, you know?
So, much more technical, much more marketing oriented.
We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own conclusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh.
Em 1984, Jobs, o rei do marketing, lança uma campanha revolucionária de publicidade. Destina-se a promover a sua criação mais recente, o lendário Macintosh, um baluarte contra o mundo orwelliano da gigante IBM. Depois do Macintosh, nunca mais nada seria o mesmo. Características operativas mais simples, novo design, a aparição do rato, o interface gráfico, o termo usado para designar aquelas pequenas janelas que tanto facilitam a vida. Estas inovações, combinadas com software desenvolvido pela Microsoft, como o Excel e o Word, fazem do Mac um sucesso tecnológico avassalador. Aliás, Bill Gates torna-se mesmo uma figura-chave na promoção do Mac.
It's a great machine. It's a step forward in terms of the way it uses graphics and the speed. And this is a machine that a lot of people are going to be able to afford. That's a very, very useful machine.
There was a lot of collaboration on the Mac. Microsoft wrote some really great things for the Mac. You know, Excel came out first on the Mac.
The atmosphere was fine when he came. I remember the first couple times, remembered we were not competitors at all at that point. They were our allies at helping making the Macintosh happen. So we got along very well with them. They were similar to us in many ways.
Welcome to the Macintosh software dating game. Software CEOs, could I please ask you to introduce yourselves?
Numa paródia de dating game apresentada por Jobs, os concorrentes são na verdade os produtores do software de topo que contribuiu para o desenvolvimento do Mac.
My name is Bill Gates. I'm chairman of Microsoft, and during 1984, Microsoft expects to get half of its revenues from Macintosh software.
Software magnate number 3. Describe your ideal relationship with Apple.
Well, we'll be selling our software independently. So the key thing is that Apple gets a lot of consistent standard machines out there quickly.
Por trás da fachada sorridente, Steve Jobs faz de rei e trata Bill Gates como vassalo.
I spent the whole time, 2 days in Hawaii, with Bill being ignored. We were treated like some crappy little, it was like the most, it was horrible. We went for a walk, Bill and I went for a walk, all the way to Diamond Head and back on the beach, talking about how screwed we were. Like, we're just fucked. What are we going to do? Lotus is going to kill us. We are so screwed. Sure, we had word processing to Excel. We were just like so sad and angst-ridden because they were just blowing us off, right?
Bill Gates fica aborrecido, mas não perde a perspicácia. O afamado interface gráfico do Mac representa o futuro dos computadores pessoais. Sem qualquer escrúpulo, faz a sua jogada.
You know, I didn't trust Bill Gates, while we were working on the Macintosh. I was one of the first people at Apple to catch on to the fact that Microsoft was cloning the Macintosh. They were making their own version of the Macintosh operating system. I was always on the phone with a fellow who was in charge of Microsoft's application software. He was asking me questions about how the Macintosh system software worked that he didn't need to know to do what he was doing. So I kind of caught on to the idea, hey, they're copying the Mac. I told Steve, he wasn't worried about it at all.
Jobs fica furioso quando descobre que a Microsoft vai lançar um novo sistema operativo, o Windows.
There was a pretty strong disagreement when Windows came out, and that was probably, of all of the things that ever happened between the two companies, that was the thing that upset Apple the most, and upset their people, and upset their lawyers, and to some, and certainly I'm sure upset Steve to some extent.
He was very upset, and his first reaction was, "Get Bill Gates down here tomorrow." And I thought, well, boy, you can't just call your competitor down. It might take a week or something. But I was amazed. Bill was there the very next day. I was very impressed by Bill Gates because there was an extremely angry Steve Jobs in the room. There were maybe 8 or 10 other Apple people, but just Bill from Microsoft. No entourage, no one there with angry Steve Jobs pouring down on him, just yelling at him. You betrayed us. How could you betray us? And Bill Gates, as cool as can be, said back, "Well, Steve, that's one way of looking at it. I have another way of looking at it."
He knew that the graphical user interface was the future of computing. And so if he wanted to remain, DOS was everything. DOS was huge, but he knew that if he didn't do Windows, he'd be out of business.
Bill Gates parte para a ofensiva. Jobs já tinha tido uma amostra disso quando fora renovada a licença para o BASIC, que equipava o Apple II, ainda o computador mais vendido de Silicon Valley. É o fim da colaboração. Entram em guerra aberta.
They had a negotiation, and Bill held out for an extremely high price that he didn't expect to get. And Steve felt trapped, and so he paid Bill what Bill asked. He overpaid for the contract extension on the Microsoft Basic. They made so much money from that Apple contract that they devoted the excess money, the money they never expected to get, to creating an international business.
We always talk about companies playing chess. It's a chess game. Well, everybody else was playing chess. Bill was playing three-dimensional chess. He already had his move on another board already calculated from 3 moves on the previous board.
So if you look at the fact that Microsoft's more than half of Microsoft's business is now outside of America, that wouldn't have happened without Apple.
Com o sucesso crescente de Gates, Jobs torna-se ainda mais megalómano. Agora, o mundo gira em seu redor. Cria o seu próprio culto de personalidade. A máquina é dele e reconhece-o literalmente como o pai.
Right now, I'd like to sit back and listen. So it is with considerable pride that I introduce a man who's been like a father to me, Steve Jobs.
Oh, I think if you talk to a lot of people on the Mac team, they will tell you it was the hardest they've ever worked in their life. Some of them will tell you it was, the happiest they've ever been in their life. But I think all of them will tell you that it is certainly one of the most intense and cherished experiences they will ever have in their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
So, it's some of those things you are not sustainable for some people.
The only way Steve knew how to run a company was to dominate everything, right? So if he didn't care about it, he didn't participate very much in it. But if he cared, he showed up at the meeting and he dominated the meeting. There was no other way around it. And everything about the topic was about Steve. Does Steve like this? When are we meeting with Steve? What's Steve think? We can't do anything until we meet with Steve, right? So for better or worse, he ran it in a completely controlling way, like a dictator. I mean, not like a democracy, not like a parliament, a dictator.
He believed in very small groups of people being pushed into greatness. And that was in part because he felt that he could only lead a handful of people at most. And so why not lead the best handful of people? So he was constantly trying to figure out who was the best. And, I was fired by Steve Jobs 3 times. And I was fired because I kept dropping out of the best, Yeah, I was useful, but not that useful, Cringely, yeah, he's, fire him,
Hello, I'm John Scully, president of Apple.
Em 1983, Steve Jobs convence John Scully a sair da Pepsi-Cola para ser diretor da Apple, com a lendária frase: "Queres continuar a vender água com açúcar toda a vida? Ou queres vir comigo e mudar o mundo?" Começam por ser a dupla perfeita, mas as vendas medíocres do Mac, juntamente com a personalidade cada vez mais tirânica de Jobs, em breve levam ao fim da lua de mel.
It came down to eventually on the board a war between John Scully and Steve Jobs. And in the end, because Steve Jobs had actually burned out so many people and created so much animosity and fear about himself, when the board came to vote, it was almost like the entire company voted that they would rather not have Steve Jobs around anymore.
Tell us about your departure from Apple.
Oh, it was very painful. I'm not even sure I want to talk about it. What can I say? I hired the wrong guy.
That was Scully?
Yeah. And he destroyed everything I'd spent 10 years working for.
And a friend of mine was working at Apple that day, the day that Steve left. And they were all called out of their offices. And they all assembled down in the parking lot and sat on the curb and everything. And they were told one of our founder, Steve Jobs, is leaving the company. And nobody cared. They were like, good, we can get our work done with all this craziness and madness, and nobody cared.
Para Steve Jobs, a expulsão da Apple em 1985 é como o final trágico de uma história de amor. Roubaram-lhe o seu filho. Pouco depois, usando dinheiro seu, cria uma nova empresa, a Next. Vai provar a toda a gente que não precisa da Apple e que continuará a revolucionar o mundo da informática. Na sua mente, ele era o único gênio por trás da Apple.
He needed friends. He needed people to help him. And Microsoft never did anything for Next, but they didn't oppose Next either. Bill didn't see Next as a factor. He didn't see Next as being even having the potential for success. And so he didn't have to oppose it because he was fairly convinced that it would die by itself.
Mike Slade, dos colaboradores próximos de Bill Gates, saiu da Microsoft para a Next. As suas recordações dessa experiência são amargas.
Nobody bought them. We didn't have any volume. It's very simple. I was there begging them. We sold like 50,000 computers a year. Yeah, so why bother, right? It wasn't a good, it would have been a bad business decision. I mean, that simple.
First thing to look at in this product is the user interface. That's perhaps the most important thing about this product. This is the user interface of Windows 2.0, of Windows 386, of OS...
No final dos anos 80, depois do BASIC e do DOS, Bill Gates queria que o Windows, o seu novo sistema operativo, se tornasse o padrão a nível mundial. Roland Hansen é o homem que fez de Bill Gates a figura de proa da indústria de software. É também a este feiticeiro do marketing que o Windows, o interface gráfico que conquistaria o mundo, deve o seu nome.
We realized that the opinion leading editors, they weren't calling these GUIs. None of these writers were calling them GUIs anymore. They were calling them all windowing systems because they were creating windows on the screen. And I said, holy crap, if these are all windowing systems, there's only one name we can be. We have to be Microsoft Windows.
Well, Windows 95 is so easy, even a talk show host can figure it out.
Windows was an affront to Jobs. Windows was an insult to Jobs.
Parente distante do Mac, o Windows, em apenas 10 anos, é instalado em quase todos os computadores do mercado, conquistando um sucesso planetário. Todos tinham de o ter. Com o Windows 95, Gates e o PC destronam definitivamente o Mac.
You make a grown man cry.
Windows was a way to move everything that he wanted to do forward. It was the foundation for everything that followed was Windows. That was one of the, when Windows 98 came out, that was a real revolution in the personal computer.
Windows, as you point out, is on 90% of the computers around the world. I mean, that today still is a phenomenal thing. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Com o sucesso fantástico do Windows 95, o geek de Seattle torna-se o senhor do software e também o homem mais rico do planeta. Entrevistado na altura por Robert Crangley, Steve Jobs exprime o seu desprezo. Em poucas e verrinosas palavras, descreve o que provocou a ruptura entre ele e o seu velho rival.
The only problem with Microsoft is they just have no taste. They have absolutely no taste, and what that means is, I don't mean that in a small way, I mean that in a big way. So I guess I am saddened, not by Microsoft's success. I have no problem with their success. They've earned their success, for the most part. I have a problem with the fact that they just make really third-rate products. Their products have no spirit to them.
Steve decided that that maybe he'd gone too far. So he called Bill up on the phone to apologize. And he said, Bill, I saw the documentary. I think maybe I shouldn't have said that publicly about Microsoft having no taste. And Bill said, well, thank you, Steve. I really want to thank you for doing that. I think you went too far. And then Steve said, but it's true, you have no taste. I mean, I shouldn't have said it publicly, but it's true. And Bill said, Steve, I may have no taste, but you said my whole company has no taste.
A Amargurado depois do fracasso da NeXT e pelo sucesso do rival, Jobs volta a levantar-se investindo na Pixar, uma companhia de filmes de animação computadorizados que viria a ser uma mina de ouro. Como habitualmente, chama a si os louros.
So, Steve Jobs, you founded Pixar in 1986 when you bought Computers division of Lucasfilm. Did you know right then what was going to happen in this business?
Well, when I first met Ed Catmull, who ran the computer division of Lucasfilm and who I founded Pixar with, we did it together. Ed showed me what they were working on, and I was blown away. I mean, the graphics were, years beyond anything I'd ever seen before. And he told me of his dream to make the first computer animated feature film. And I bought into that dream both sort of emotionally and financially, and we founded Pixar.
It's just wrong. It's just wrong. That's part of the marketing story that he sold about himself, which is a good story, but it's just wrong. He's not Pixar. He's the money of Pixar. He's seductive, narcissistic, articulate. Something's just not right there. But whenever he wants to sell something, boy, does he do it, including himself.
Em 1995, Toy Story é o primeiro filme de animação totalmente computadorizado a ser lançado. Torna-se um sucesso de bilheteira. Toy Story abre o caminho para o sucesso contínuo da Pixar a nível mundial.
And here's where Steve did something he was really good at. He grabbed the moment. And he took the company public based on nothing. We had basically no cash. We just had this movie, and the New York critics said it was going to be good. And this is where he can sell something, right? He took that idea and sold it. Took Pixar public, became a billionaire overnight.
10 anos após a partida de Jobs, a Apple ainda não recuperou. A companhia está à beira da falência. Resta uma última carta na manga, o regresso do Rapaz Maravilha. Jobs assume os comandos depois de voltar a comprar a NeXT, a sua antiga empresa, quase falida.
When he came back to Apple in 1996, he was a much more mature, much better. He'd gone through a success of one company, the failure of another, so he had left his youthful craziness behind.
I think this is one of the greatest turnarounds in the history of any industry in any country anywhere, to have a man come back to a company that was really going down very rapidly. They were in very bad shape, and then pull off the success that he did.
Something happened at NeXT that did change Steve. And what I believe it was that for the first time, it was his money. NeXT, it was his money he was losing. At Apple, it was Arthur Rock's money. It was the public's money. It was Wall Street's money. It wasn't real money. But at NeXT, it was real money. It was his money that was going out. He could hear it, leaving the building. And so he became, for the first time, began to care about profit and loss. He began to care about success, business success. He turned into a businessman, which he had never been before. He became a little more like Bill Gates.
Um ano após o seu regresso à Apple, Steve Jobs, de novo aos comandos, desenvolve um novo plano de ação, uma ocasião para fazer um anúncio espantoso aos seus inúmeros fãs.
And I'd like to announce one of our first partnerships today, a very, very meaningful one, and that is one with Microsoft. The discussions actually began because there were some patent disputes. And rather than, rather than repeating history, I'm extremely proud of both companies that they have resolved these differences in a very, very professional way. And I happen to have a special guest with me today via satellite downlink. And if we could get him up on the stage right now.
Good morning. Some of the most exciting work that I've done in my career.
Bill was genuinely happy when Steve came back. I think he recognized and felt that that losing Apple as a successful company wouldn't be good for the industry. And so, and I think that was when the relationship became closer, and that relationship stayed close.
Bill didn't do a favor for Steve. What Bill did was Microsoft had a successful business selling Macintosh applications. They were making a profit selling Macintosh applications. If Apple went out of business, the Mac software business at Microsoft would go out of business too. So he had a franchise to protect. Now, the fact that Steve Jobs was sort of groveling, made it better.
Bill Gates tem outro motivo para ir em auxílio de Steve Jobs: os processos antitrust pendentes contra a Microsoft, devido ao seu monopólio de 10 anos do Windows.
I'm here to share my story and answer questions about Microsoft and the PC industry. I hope that my testimony helps the court to resolve the issues in this case. That would be best for consumers.
Especially after the antitrust battle, really the day-to-day part of the company was really getting to be very hard on him. And that Microsoft was so big and so successful that it was a time that he could move on and go into something else.
Enquanto Gates se afasta, Jobs escala a novas altitudes. Adota um novo conceito: a campanha publicitária Think Different, um regresso à sua ideia original de simplicidade.
The thing I most respect about Apple is they have found a way to make complex things simple. And that was the Think Different campaign. Think Different really got you to think. But then when you went and really explored Apple, it was different.
Uma ideia brilhante de marketing para o iMac, o novo computador caseiro, que dá aos utilizadores a sensação de serem especiais, superiores ao mundo padronizado do PC.
Then he said, okay, I could build Macintoshes forever, but that would be boring. So we're going to create the digital hub strategy, and we're going to create the iPod and the iPhone and the touch and a pad and everything, and they're going to connect through computers, but the computer's only the hub. People are going to carry their computers around. And that's the strategy from 97, 98, 99 when they came up with that. So then he could do what he did best, which was design brand new products.
So that's Steve Jobs, is that it's like, I am an alchemist. I am a magician, I am going to make this rabbit disappear, right? I'm not just going to make a rabbit, I'm going to make it disappear. I want to make the buttons move around, right? He liked things that were magic.
Com o iWorld, Steve Jobs faz uma nova e inigualável contribuição para o nosso modo de vida. O novo mundo digital, com um único nome de marca que significa inovação, design e facilidade de utilização. Isso nem sempre se aplica aos produtos da Microsoft.
I think you're somewhat jealous of the great success of the iPod, and then iTunes, which went together, and it's a super successful thing that Steve did, and I think really a very brilliant thing to do, because it just started changing the way people viewed electronic devices.
The big change was the iPod. Steve saw or used an MP3 player. There were a lot of them around for 2 years before the iPod, but they were reserved for techies.
And so Apple created a better music player that was better because of its ease of use, and then they had to find a way to feed it. And in doing so, of course, they took the record companies the cleaners. They stole the music business from the record companies, because the record companies thought, oh, this is kind of interesting, but it's not going to mean anything. It's nothing. This is no big deal. Apple told the record companies, that their goal in the first year was to sell 1 million music downloads. They sold 1 million music downloads in the first week. They sold 100 million in the first year. They sold 1 billion in the first 2 years. And the music business was changed forever. And the record company was saying, shit, where did that come from?
An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it?
Depois do iPod, a Apple reina sem rival no mundo dos telemóveis. O iPhone foi o feito que definiu Steve Jobs como um visionário moderno, capaz de satisfazer todos os desejos e necessidades dos consumidores. Confrontado com o cancro, talvez ele se aperceba que tem os dias contados. Não tem tempo a perder se quer deixar a sua marca na história.
Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
Steve was now running a company that had gone off and done some really amazing things, and there was no longer this sort of, I'm in the shadow of Bill Gates, I'm not in the shadow of Microsoft. Apple's become this enormously successful company. Apple does more business, Apple does more business in iPhones than Microsoft does in total business. And they're the most valuable company in the world now.
Steve Jobs didn't change the world. Steve Jobs capitalized on a lot of things. Bill changed the world. Bill made software what it is today. If Bill hadn't created the standards, MS-DOS, Windows, and was very dogmatic at making sure those standards took hold, we wouldn't have the technology we have today. And I'm talking globally. I'm not talking about the United States. Globally, he impacted the world in terms of what he did with software. He decided to do the same thing in philanthropy.
This is my last keynote, and it's the middle of this year in July that I'll move from being a full-time employee at Microsoft to working full-time at the foundation. It'll be the first time since I was 17 that I won't have my full-time Microsoft job. And I'm not really sure what that last day is going to be like. It could be a bit strange. What do you do on your last day? So I asked some friends to help me prepare for that.
Hey, it's Bill.
Bill Shatner of Star Trek?
No, the other Bill.
Bill Clinton?
Longe do reino das estrelas pop e das celebridades políticas, Bill Gates opta agora por aliviar o sofrimento no mundo. A fundação a que preside com a mulher, Melinda, faz deste multimilionário o filantropo mais generoso de sempre. Continua atento à Microsoft, mas os sonhos que alimenta hoje estão ligados a causas humanitárias.
He's going to go down in history as the world's greatest philanthropist, no doubt about it. No one come close, right? And so I think for anybody else, whether it was Steve Jobs or whoever, your view of Bill changed a little bit when you saw what a good job he was doing. I mean, it wasn't like some guy screwing around with rock stars and then occasionally showing up at a charity function. He's like really focused, and like achievable goals, wipe out malaria, no big deal, right? Things that are just amazing, right?
What individual in the history of money has devoted $20 billion to anything? No one but Bill Gates. So he's, plays to win, plays to win. Steve never got there. Steve never gave a penny to charity.
I once had a conversation with Steve much later after Bill Gates retired from Microsoft, and he was doing what I thought was great stuff at trying to eradicate diseases in third world and stuff. And I said, well, even though Bill Gates kind of wrecked the technology industry for a decade or two, you got to be proud of what he's doing now. And Steve looked at me and said, what do you mean, distributing his ill-gotten gains? He wasn't ready to give him all that much credit for that.
Hello, I'm a Mac. And I'm a PC.
Steve Jobs nunca perdia uma oportunidade de insultar o seu velho inimigo, como nestes anúncios da Apple, que ridicularizavam os utilizadores do PC.
Why don't you say something positive about PC?
Okay, easy. PC, you are a wizard with numbers and you dress like a gentleman.
PC?
Well, Mac, I guess you are a little better at creative stuff.
Thank you. Even though it's completely juvenile and a waste of time.
Maybe you should come in twice a week.
Em 2007, os dois gigantes enfrentaram-se no último certame mediático, organizado por Walt Mossberg, jornalista perito em alta tecnologia. Os confrontos passados deram finalmente lugar a uma rivalidade pacífica.
First I called Jobs, because I thought he'd be the hardest to get. And he said, if Bill does it, I will do it, but we have to keep it, I want to keep it on a high level. I don't want it just be a fight.
What's the greatest misunderstanding between you and your relationship and about each other? What would you say would be?
We've kept our marriage secret for over a decade now.
You are competitors in certain ways, which
We watch
is the American way,
we
right?
watch the commercials.
And you get annoyed at each other from
Although
time
you know
to
what?
time.
I have to confess, I like PC Guy better.
Yeah, he's great.
I like him. The
You know,
other
the
guy, I wanna
art of
pop
those
in the-
the art of those
Yes, sir.
commercials is not to be mean, but it's actually for the guys to like each other. Thanks. PC Guy is great.
I like
He's got a big heart.
His mother loves him.
His mother loves him.
I'm telling you.
Loves him.
I like PC Guy totally much better.
Wow.
I do. I don't know why. He's endearing. The other guy's a
PC Guy's
jackass.
what makes it all work. Actually.
All right.
It's worth thinking about.
And Bill still viewed Steve as kind of a freak, and he was fascinated by him. You know, people would say, well, why did you let Steve treat you that way? And Bill didn't even know he was being treated a certain way. He was just watching this and saying, who is this guy? You know, how does this work? Is there an algorithm here? Because I don't get it, you know? He spent 30 years watching Steve Jobs, just trying to figure out what the fuck was going on.